Okay, spirits, hello everyone, it's Junie. Got my spirit box on and going to go over the astrology map. Oh, jeez. Wow, what was that? Maybe pull some tarot cards, and we're going to be talking about Little Summer Wells. I got the little toy out here. Please remember, any names mentioned on my channel are always given the courtesy and the presumption of innocence. All suspects need to be proven guilty in a court of law. Please remember that this is just astrology. You do not have to take it as fact. Even if I have a suspect that looks really suspicious on the astrology, that does not mean that they are guilty, okay? It could just be a coincidence, or they could be in a weird spot. I don't know, okay? I don't really know what happened to Summer. I'm just using spiritual tools and astrology to get some insight. That doesn't mean that you take it as fact. You cannot use a spirit box as factual evidence. You cannot use it in a court of law, okay? You cannot use astrology in a court of law. Although I have had some law enforcement on very old cold cases have been interested in this mapping, especially the mapping. So just remember, this is not to be taken as fact. Please do your own research and come to your own conclusions, okay? Even if my spirits say they're talking to Summer, I have no idea if they are truly talking to Summer Wells. Even if my spirits say so-and-so did it, I have no idea of knowing, you know, if that's true or not, okay? I believe in my spirits. You don't have to, all right? That's just that, all right? So this is the astrological map for Summer Wells. She went missing June 15th in 2021 in Rogersville, Tennessee. This crime chart is mapped for 532. Hi, Bailey. Hi, it's good to see you. This map is mapped for 632. I'm sorry, I said 532. Mapped for 632. So, hold on, I'm trying to find myself. Here I am. So, I put out a short real fast telling you all of the asteroids that I used for this chart. These are some of the asteroids that I used. I used Summer, which is Summer's field. I used Candace. And if you guys want to pull a chart, these are the asteroid numbers that you can pull up and see exactly what I'm seeing as well. So I used Summer's field because her name is Summers Wells, and there is a lot of rumors that she could be in a field. Candace, which is just plain Candace. Don Wells, which is an asteroid named Don Wells. That's the asteroid number. I'm using Hygeia, which rules health. Medusa, which rules the head, the neck. It is conjunct Don Wells on the chart. Jose, 1423. DNA, which is 55555. Nessus, which is a physical attack to someone. And then Nemesis, which means just that, an open enemy. Jody, I used that for Jody Sue just because I was curious to see where she pulled up. Hera, 103, she is a wife. In crime, she could be a jealous wife. And she is conjunct Don Wells and the moon, which the moon is the second co-ruler of Summer. Also pulled asteroid Frederick because there is a neighbor by the name of Fred. Again, that does not mean that I think that he's guilty. I'm just curious. I couldn't remember where he showed up in the chart, okay? Even if they show up in a weird spot, doesn't mean that they're guilty, okay? Everyone's given the presumption of innocence until proven guilty in a court of law. Hey, Aggie, thank you so much for being here. It's good to see you. Okay, so we'll start the chart off by looking at a couple of sections that I find pretty interesting. Okay. The spirits are quiet because they know that I'm talking. which is pretty cool. That's wild. They know I'm talking. Aw. So, I don't know, I might have to check back with my spirits in a minute because they're real quiet now. Okay. Hey, Missy, it's good to see you. Yeah, it was a lot of work. I was texting Missy last night. So, Missy, I do have your suspect on here. I think I should probably delete him off because now the last time I did a map, I think I did a map for like 3 o'clock, and it did map out in the area of where your suspect is at. But this is a map for 6:32. So, you know, I've done a lot of maps for summer, right? I mean, a lot. So, I'm just going to kind of, Missy knows where he lives, so she can kind of see where the lines are, but I'm just going to delete him out. So, because Missy lives in that area, and we just don't want people to know that, you know, Missy's been working on a suspect for a really long time, and she lives in Tennessee, so we have to really protect her safety with this case. Hey, Lorraine. Hi, Harry. Hi, Harry Cox. It's good to see you, shouting you out. Oh, you're in the UK. Oh, I'm so jealous. Yeah. Okay, so this is the forensic astrology. So this is a timestamp, basically, of when Summer Wells went missing, okay? It's me mapping basically this, okay? I'm mapping this. And there's a couple of spots that I'm really drawn to because, I mean, it does kind of tell a story here. So, all right, so, like I said, this, I truly believe, in my heart of hearts, I truly believe this is God's wristwatch, okay? This is how God, you know, you can believe whatever you want to believe. You don't have to believe it, all right? But I believe that God does keep an eye on us down here. He knows when something tragic happens to us, and this is a way that he is able to basically keep track of us, I believe, down here, okay? So I know this because here, right here, is her north node in Gemini, okay? Her north node, which is also with Al-Gol and Black Moon Lilith. It's all kind of in the same little area there. So I'm mapping here, Al-Gol. Black Moon Lilith is right with Al-Gol at the 26 degrees of Taurus. And it's the part of the DC line as well, okay? So I find it very suspicious that it goes right out to the swim hole. So the north node is kind of like your fated destiny. Right here, this is the Walgreens at Fort Henry Drive, Walgreens. I believe this is the Walgreens that Candace went and picked up Grandis's, her mother's, prescription. The day that Summer Wells went missing, early in the morning, she got up. She took Grandis to the hospital, and I think she got a shot in her knee, and she also received some type of prescription. In my own personal opinion, I believe she probably got painkillers. I believe she probably got some type of pain reliever, some type of something. She went over and she picked up Hunter, and then they came back to the swim hole, And the north node of fated destiny also pretty much so maps out the Walgreens and the swim hole where she was swimming. Hey, Susie Q, it's good to see you, sweetie. Hey, Ellie Mae, hi. Welcome in. Thank you for being here, everyone. Okay, so this is one of the last known locations of where Summer was at. So remember, these maps kind of map out the whole crime of the day. It's not going to just map out. I think it's frustrating for some of you guys because you think when you think location astrology, you think there's going to be like a big arrow, right? And it's just going to point to where her body is at. It does, but it doesn't. So it's going to basically print out everything of the crime, including over here, look, right down here, we have the white moon here, okay? On this line is the white moon, and it's Selena, all right, who's going to shine light on Summer Wells's case, and guess where that is? It goes right through where Ronnie Lawson works. It is the police station. It is the detective offices where the police are working on Summer's case, right here. And right here I have, you know, the opposite of Black Moon Lilith, who is the dark side of the moon. Over here I have the light side of the moon. So I will tell you this. When I mapped that out, I thought to myself, maybe law enforcement is trying to shine a light on Summer's case, okay? Now, I'm not saying that they're perfect. I think they've made a lot of mistakes with Summer. I think they have made a lot of mistakes with Sebastian Rogers. You know, I'm not crazy about Tennessee with missing children. I think Tennessee has a big problem with missing children, okay? But you can see here the astrology is telling us, here is the light, and that is law enforcement, okay? So have hope, all right? If I can give you anything today, I would like to give you that law enforcement does have, I believe, Summer's best interest at heart, okay? Because right there, that tells us that they are trying to shine a light on her case, all right? Because it's mapping out the day that she goes missing that they're trying to do right, I believe, okay? I'm going to drop my little pointer thing. Thank you, Aggie. I appreciate that. It's not the moon. It's Selena. So it's the white moon. It's, the moon is over here. That was on her crime chart. Yes. I mean, I hope that gives you guys a little bit of hope, okay? Because that line goes right into his office, okay? Right where Ronnie Lawson works. This is where they work. There's a detective building, and I guess like where the sheriff of Kingsport works, okay? It's right here, and you can see that line goes right through there. So I was really happy to see that, and I really hope that it does give you guys some hope, okay? So the moon is down here. So the MC line represents the reputation of the case, social media, how people view the case, okay? So it's in Leo, so that has to do with children, okay? Leo rules children. The MC line, the MC line actually was it, let me see. No, the MC line was in Virgo, okay, at the 8th degree. The moon was in Leo, so that rules the 5th house, okay? The moon is telling us that we have a missing child, and it involves family, okay? Because Leo represents family heritage, okay? Family lineage, and it's the heart of the lion, Leo. It rules the head, the hair, the back, and the heart, and the vital life force is Leo, including the sun, okay? So the MC line is how everyone's looking at it, which is Virgo, meaning that something has affected her health, okay? It's at an 8 degrees. This MC line is in Virgo at an 8th degrees. So let's just see where it comes out of their house. Okay, this is the moon line, this is the MC line, and this is the moon, this is the MC line, and this is Don Wells' asteroid. Now, Don Wells' asteroid is 1 degree apart from Medusa, who has a neck injury, a head injury, and, you know, everybody knows the story of Medusa. I really... Hi, The Sound of Nature, it's good to see you. Hi, Tiny Fox, it's good to see you. Oh, everybody, the real Gemini's here. Okay, hi, Sankey. Okay, it's good to see you. Yeah, it is a little complicated. But if you guys buy this book, buy this book, the Forensic Astrology Workbook. Okay, learn forensic astrology techniques to map missing and understand crime charts. Okay, buy this book. It's by Kirsty McIntosh. Okay, we're gonna look at a couple of things on her book too, because she has a whole section in here that I really love, and I like. I want to use it because I have it and I want to use it. So we'll look up a couple of injuries and see what we get. Okay, so everyone, the real Gemini is here, and the real Gemini has lost a family member. She has lost her dad. So if all of you guys could just please send the real Gemini big hugs in the chat and send her some hearts and send her love. You know, she's been really going through it, and you know, we're her family, we're her friends, and I really want to you know, be there for her through her time of need. So everyone, the real Gemini, she's really going through it, okay? So send her love, send her good vibes. You know, it's hard to lose a parent. You know, it's probably one of the worst things we all have to go through. I've lost both of my parents, so I understand. I've lost my sister, my brother, and both my parents. So believe me, I know what she's going through. So, okay, I hope I'm not, like, screaming, because sometimes I listen back to my videos, and I swear to God, I sound like I'm freaking, like, screaming at you. I'm trying to talk softer. Okay, so, where was I at? What was I saying? Shit, I forget what I was just saying. What was I just saying, guys? You guys remember? God damn it. Okay, where was I at? I was at, oh, down here, the moon. All right, so, you know, if we go back to her home, so this chart is going to map all the planets that were above Summer Wells's head the day that she went missing, okay? So it's a mathematical equation, and basically you take the house, the degree of the house, and you take the degree of the planet, and you add that, and then you come up with a degree. And you have to use scribble maps. You can't use Google Maps, okay? And the Earth is round. We're using longitude and latitude, okay? And you can map out and you can trace the trajectory of the planets that were over top of a victim's head the day and the timestamp that they went missing. So this is the trajectory of the planets above the planets, the asteroids, the fixed stars, okay, that were above Summer's head the moment that she went missing. And like I said, I believe this is how God does take care, like keeps an eye on us down here, especially when something bad happens. You know, the planets do behave a certain way over top of a victim's head. So it's just very interesting, okay? So I have done more mile markers for Summer. I didn't have this many mile markers last time. I did yards this time. So like, so her AC line was 26 degrees. So I did 26 yards. Then I did 2.6 miles. And then I did 26 miles, okay? The moon was 27 degrees. So the moon is 27 yards. Then it goes out to, right here you can see 27 yards, 26 yards out. And then you see it goes out to I'm making you stuffed peppers, Kaden. And carrots, stuffed peppers, and if you could just help me make rice, that's all I need you to help me make, honey. So we'll have stuffed peppers, rice, and carrots, and maybe another vegetable if you want. It's up to you. I do have a salad in there that's already pre-made. If you want to just have a side salad or something, we can do that too. Okay. Sorry, I'm trying to get. Hey, Tease Louise, it's good to see you. Welcome, welcome, sweet girl. It's good to see ya. Okay, so I did do more mile markers than usual. I know every astrologer has their own way of doing things, okay? There is really there's no wrong or right, all right? I've learned a way that is based off of horary astrology and forensic astrology mapping that I learned reading Kirsty McIntosh's books. Not that if someone else does these charts different, it does not mean that I'm right and they're wrong, okay? I'm not like that, all right? So here I have the IC and the MC line are 8 degrees, okay? So I did 8 yards, 80 yards, 8 miles, okay? And then I also did Saturn. Saturn was 13 degrees. So that's 13 yards. That's 1.3 miles all the way out to 13 miles. So I have all the mile markers going all the way out to 26, 27 miles. Okay? I hope that makes sense. All right. Which means that it can map out a road that was taken, a turn. You know, when you have a planet that crosses over a mile marker, you know, it could be there could be something there, or there could not be something. It doesn't mean that there is or there isn't. But sometimes we find evidence in these areas. We find out that people live on these areas that might have something to do with the crime or might have something to do with the story of the suspects that are involved, okay? Like, you know, this guy here, right here, all the way down here. He's at my 27 mile marker on the moon, all right? Now, Fred Hill had an issue with this guy. His name is Roy Lee Fanning, and Fred Hill and him had an altercation, and he was shot in the neck for self-defense, I believe. So he maps out. He's right near a mile marker, right? Now, he might not have anything to do with this case, but he's part of the history of the area that's surrounding this case, okay? So here he is on a mile marker near, what line is he on? He's on Mars, which rules weapons, right? He's near Mars, and he's near Venus. Venus is ruling the open enemy of the chart on the DC line, okay? So the DC line is what rules an open enemy, right? It doesn't mean that it can give a description of what our open enemy looks like, but because we have Al-Gol there, we have to think that our open enemy could be drugs, and our open enemy could be a head injury or a neck injury of some sort, or an accident that brings on mass catastrophe, because Venus is ruled by Taurus, and it is at a 26 degrees of Al-Gol, and Black Moon Lilith is in there. So there's a secret, hidden desire, secrets, okay, with either a drug overdose, an accident, or, God forbid, the devil got her. Because I think I've explained to you guys over and over again who Al-Gol is, okay? Al-Gol is extremely evil. He's at 26 degrees. So on my crime chart at 632, I keep saying 5, at 632, I have Al-Gol sitting right smack dab on the DC line, right? Now, if she was kidnapped, it would be devastating, all right? Because Black Moon Lilith and Al-Gol being there, it would mean that the devil got her. Okay, I don't know how else to say it, just that Satan came down and got her. So I'm praying more so that it was an accident and that she didn't go through anything from Al-Gol, because I'll read to you guys who Al-Gol is. I don't want to curse these books. This is her other book, Criminal Astrology, Volume 1, Understanding the Crime Chart, and she has a list of fixed stars in here, and she tells us who Al-Gol is, okay? So our crime chart, the DC line is at 26 degrees, okay? Al-Gol, the Gorgon's head, primitive, female sexuality, strangulation, beheading, danger to the throat and neck, murder, violence, mass catastrophe, the evil one, the demon star, passionate, intense, hysterical, very unfortunate. So it can bring on mass hysteria where there's like panic, okay? Al-Gol always shows up in ouch, ooh, God, that hurt. Al-Gol always shows up in the majority of our crime charts. He's always active, okay? And he can mean a lot of things. He can mean conspiracy theories. He can mean, you know, that the perpetrator was under the influence, or the accident was under the influence, okay? So it can happen like that. Yep. Yes. Yes, she does. So, but there's just other things that in the chart, to me personally, okay? She could have been kidnapped, but me personally, I see a fated situation with her north node going through Walgreens and her north node going through the swimming hole here, okay? Her north node in Gemini, so that could be two people, could be Hunter, and Hunter is under 30 at the time because there was two kids, and Candace Wells was giving Hunter alcohol that day, okay? She was giving Hunter alcohol that day, and on Summer's fated line, right here's the Walgreens, all right? Right through her north node of fate and her destiny goes right over to the swim hole, okay? You guys can't make that up, all right? Like, seriously, like, here's where she was swimming, okay? And it's fated. So whatever happened there that day could have already put things in motion that Summer was in trouble, okay? That's all I'm going to say is I think Summer was in a lot of trouble between 2:30 and 3:30, 3:45. I'm going to say Summer was in grave danger between those times, okay? And it seems like after that, it's just sheer panic. You know, is it possible that they got something at Walgreens and Summer got into it? I mean, Hunter was drinking a Long Island iced tea. I mean, do you think he really was paying attention to what Summer may have put in her mouth? Obviously, they went and got some type of medication. And knowing the history of the Wells, I wouldn't doubt it if they got Percocets. That's just my own opinion, okay? I don't know if they did or not, but, you know, it's just pretty crazy. Then when they go over and pick up Hunter, if you look here, the astrology actually maps out Allie's house, okay? Right here. So they dropped off Hunter, and the astrology has that mapped out too. This line right here is Ceres, who rules children and how you raise children, how you take care of your children. She brings in the harvest, and let's not forget, Ceres, when you look at her on the chart, she is a scythe, all right? She is in the shape of a scythe.
You want to try the street corn
salad? Hold on, guys. My daughter wants me to try something she cooked. What'd you make?
This is street corn salad.
Oh, we bought street corn, like Mexican street corn. It's so good. And we made it into a salad. Hold on, guys. 1 second. I got to take a bite.
Girl.
That's really good.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Did you make your rice?
No.
You're going to make a pot, put water in it, and you can put the rice in there. How I taught you how to do it?
Mm-hmm.
You remember? Okay, all you need to do is make rice. I made everything else. Okay, and we can have a nice dinner. Okay. All right, so let's look. You can see This is Allie's street, right here. Where Allie was living. Now, Allie has passed away. But up there is their house, as you can see. This is the street where we see Chris McDonough do his little videos, okay? So you can see, right there's Allie's house. And we have a planet that rules raising children and how you care for your children right on that line. So I find that very suspicious, okay? All these little stops up here is where Candace, I'm not sure if she went to all of these places, but I have marked them because I'm not sure which hospital she went to. This is Indian Path Medical Center. Again, we have Al-Gol out here as well. Like I said, Al-Gol can rule someone having a, being intoxicated, okay? Or being under the influence of some sort. You're getting the Walgreens, Aggie. Getting images and little videos from holding something that was involved in a crime. Oh, wow. Thank you. Yeah, I love it when you guys share your gifts with all of us. The sound she is learning as she teaches us, and no, this does not stand up in court. Right, yes, thank you for the real Gemini. Relaxing music, what a... oh, yeah. Psychochrometry. I think I said that word right. What does that word mean, psychochrometry? Yeah. Yeah, I like to have, rice is good with stuffed peppers. So I made 6 huge stuffed peppers. I got really big green and red and yellow peppers, and I stuffed them. Okay, so here is the Sonic drive-through, okay? And this is probably where Summer got her slushie, okay? Because if this is Indian Path Medical Center, and down there is the swim hole, right? Then she went to Sonic that day, and she got a slushie. And so Allie's house and Sonic are all kind of close to this line of Ceres, and in between Al-Gol and Ceres. Uranus is out here too. So, it really makes me wonder, either they ran into someone out here that is the devil, or something happened while they were doing all these errands and going to the hospital, going to Sonic, going to the water hole, going to Walgreens, that something, a catastrophe began to happen, okay? So it's possible because this swim hole and Walgreens right here is part of Summer's fate, okay? It's part of her fate. So we'll look at the neighbors that are nearby Summer's house. Now, please remember, I am mapping out people's houses, okay, that are listed as suspects, or people who live near Summer when she went missing. Just because a line goes through someone's house, or just because, I have them as a dot on my chart, does not mean that I think that they're guilty. I'm just showing you where the astrology takes us, okay? So here we do have a line here. Now this is 125 Ben Hill Road. That's Jody Sue Brown and Andy Bernard, and I believe her 2 kids were living there at the time. So I do have the line of Mars going through there. Now, the line of Mars is ruling Summer on one of the charts. So on the chart, we have the AC line is Scorpio, okay? So when Scorpio is the AC line, that means we have 2 co-rulers of the chart. We want to look at Mars and we want to look at Scorpio. Why do we look at Mars, even though we know Pluto is Scorpio's planet? We look at Mars because Mars is the ancient planet of Scorpio. So I look at both of them, okay? Some people say, oh, if it's inside or outside, you want to do, or if it's day or night, you can do it that way. But I just look at both of them. I look at Pluto and Mars, and I read them both because they are technically both co-rulers of the chart. Okay, so I do have the planet line that's ruling summer going right through Jody Sue Brown's yard. That does not mean that she's guilty, okay? That does not mean that they're guilty. It's just interesting because I have a mile marker. Which mile marker is this? So that's Jody Sue Brown's house right here, okay? And I have a mile marker, and I have Jody Sue Brown and Andy Bernard's home. Let's see, that is the IC and the MC line. So that could be the root of the matter with the mile marker, or it could be the reputation of the case, okay? Because the MC line rules the reputation, and the IC line is the root of the matter. And remember, they were at the 8 degrees, which rules transformation and death, okay? Doesn't mean that they're guilty. Please don't get that twisted, all right? But it is interesting that they are showing up with a mile marker and the planet that's ruling summer, okay? So if you look through here, Ben Hill Road, it completely maps out. It also maps out the end of her driveway, like, perfectly. You can see here's the end of her driveway. I have a mile marker right smack dab on the end of the driveway. So we have, you know, all these planets are here. Mars, Don Wells, and Medusa, okay? So again, Medusa rules a head injury, a neck injury, and, you know, we all know the story of Medusa. It's not a good one, okay? So, and the moon is here. So the moon goes down Ben Hill Road, and the moon is a second co-ruler of a victim. So right here is the Wells house, right smack dab in the middle, okay? All the lines I have coming out of here are shooting out from the Wells home, off their roof, okay? Because it's tracing the trajectory of the planets when summer went missing. So here, if you look, I believe this was the tree that Summer had a swing on. Isn't this the tree that she had a swing on, guys? I think so. This tree right here. I think this was her tree swing. Because here's the driveway when you come up. I think this is that side basement door, and she would walk up and go to the tree. So I do have lines going right through this tree. I also have lines going through this tree. So it is interesting, also going through the bus, all around her property, and going through Grandis's area here. So if we push it out to 26 yards, and I do have the planet Pluto and Saturn going right through. Now, planet Pluto is also a second co-ruler of summer, right? Because Scorpio is ruling the AC. So Mars, Pluto, Summer's asteroid, the moon, all rule summer, okay? So there's a couple of lines here that are connected to summer, all right? And this is the shed. That's down at, you know, away from the Wells house at the end of their property there. This is that little driveway that you can come in to the shed. I hope you guys can see. And Pluto, the planet of death, is going right through this shed. So I have always not been comfortable with that. That's never settled well with me. I believe that Don Wells did go down to the shed and check it when she was reported missing. I've always been curious about that. The line of Saturn and Pluto goes out here. So I also have a line going right into the graveyard. This is the Morrison Cemetery that everyone keeps saying that we should, you know, check it out. Yeah, I think, you know, Uranus goes through there. Al-Gol, Black Moon Lilith goes through there. Uranus is a planet of shock, unexpected events, and crime. And we do have it going right through the cemetery. Okay? And you look, again, I have one of the mile markers going through the road and the planets. Okay? So if we go down Ben Hill Road, we can start to map out the neighbors. All right? So that was Jody Sue Brown here, right? And then if you keep going down Ben Hill Road, the moon, which is a co-ruler of summer, Okay. This is Fred's house. So I do have a line that goes in the backyard of Fred's house. That doesn't mean he's guilty, okay? Because these lines are going through a lot of the neighbors' houses. It doesn't mean they're guilty. And that is Hygeia, which can rule health, the victim's health, okay? So between this house here is Evelyn Hill, and this house here was where Fred and Laura were living. And it could be that they could be suffering from health issues, okay? Or that our victim is suffering from health issues. Then we have this house here, which is connected to Don Wells, which is the Redmonds, the Redmond family. Doesn't mean that they're guilty, okay? It's just, it could be that Don Wells walked down here, or maybe Don Wells did talk to them. I don't know. Okay, so we have Hygeia, we have Medusa, we have Don Wells, we have, Mars, who's ruling summer, all here in this little section here. I find that very interesting with the moon, okay, because the moon can be a second co-ruler for a missing child. And you can see it maps out the road. I mean, that's their road. It goes right to the end of their damn driveway. So I find that very fascinating. The vertex is a serendipitous kind of, not as important as the North Node, but still it's the vertex. It can be like a serendipity type of situation. So on the vertex, I do have the Thompson family. Does not mean that they're involved, okay? It just, they there could be something serendipitous that they might, think of summer, or, just the tragedy of summer, right? The other house that I'm interested in is Chad Arnold's house, because he is on the line of Uranus, in between Al-Gol, which is, and the DC line, okay? So, and I do have an Arnold show up in the first house as an asteroid. I also have the name Roy show up in the first house. I also have the name David shows up in the first house. I have Candace in the first house. I have Summer all in the first house, around between 2:30 and like 4, okay? Between 2:30 and 4:30 maybe. I have specific names showing up in the first house. Does that mean that they're guilty? No, of course not. It could just mean that they were in the area, or they could have been near the victim. But, I definitely believe that Candace was with the victim. She goes into the house of endings and sorrows right before the 911 call with Summer. So I find that very suspicious. Of course, Candace is considered innocent until proven guilty, but I do find it suspicious. Sorry, I'm talking and not looking at the chat. I'm sorry, guys. Give me 1 second. Oh, good. I'm glad you're getting confirmation, Gemini. Yeah. Laura is supposed to sick what PG says anyway. Laura. I'm not sure what that means, Gemini. Laura, you mean Fred's ex-girlfriend? About someone being sick. Yeah, I mean, they were sick at the time. Fred wasn't doing well when he was living there when Summer went missing, and neither was Laura. I could look at it as, I could look at that a couple ways. Doesn't mean that he's guilty, okay? But it's Hygeia who rules our health on your own natal chart. When you pull up your own natal chart, sorry, I got salad now stuck in my throat because she gave me a bite of it. Where's my water? Hold on. Give me 1 second. Sorry about that, guys. All right, so Saturn and Pluto can rule a death and a physical body. And I have DNA all going out here as well. So and the power of fortune, right? So I have IC, which is the root of the matter. And then I have the asteroid DNA. And I also have Saturn, And I have the par of fortune, which is basically also kind of represents summer too. Okay, it's kind of like it's kind of like how do I explain it? The par of fortune is the sun, the moon, and the rising at a mathematical degree. So it's 3 positions in the chart that you multiply them, and you come up with this degree of a par of fortune. Now, in your regular astrology, it can represent your good luck, your good fortune, right? It's a positive thing. But in crime, we can look at that a little bit differently, kind of more like fate, or you know, a fated situation, right? So, and it can represent something of summers, and that goes out to Christian Bend. So I have Pluto in Capricorn. Pluto rules death and transformation, and Capricorn rules a skeleton body. So here, Pluto and Capricorn and the par of fortune around this Christian Bend area. So I've always been interested in this area. Like I said, Missy does have a suspect in this area nearby. He looks a little weird on the chart, not going to lie. But the problem I have with him is that I have no way of connecting him. You know what I mean? Like, he's not a known suspect. No one knows his name. And we have no way of knowing if he was there that day. I think I'm going to try to ask Ziggy about him. I just haven't been able to do it yet. But, and I didn't map out Chiron. Shoot, I got to map out Chiron. Chiron goes out here, which is a wound that never heals. And I believe all these lines out here go near Patrick Ford Henry Dam as well. So if I follow the river, Chase Bend, South Fork. So here I have South Fork Holston River. And then down here on this line, which is by where Hunter was dropped off, there's the river behind here, right? That's always kind of been interesting to me. And there's an industry park back there. And here, let's see, there's another bridge. Yep. Yeah. So Missy, when I mapped out his house the last time, I think I was using the 230 to 330 chart, and it gets closer to his house. So this is at 630, right? So I do have lines going through the South Fork Hudson River, and then up here we have another line. If we just follow the river down, right here it starts to split off. This might be where they got milk. I'm not sure. This was that price less IGA, the milk jug grocery stores here. It was on Stone Drive in Kingsport. So I'm not sure if this is where she got the milk or not. Here I have, I believe, another Walgreens. So, you know, I'm pretty sure she went to the Walgreens that was near the swim hole. But, and this is another Walgreens. And again, it's near Uranus. And Uranus is also conjunct another planet. What was Uranus conjunct? I forget now. Ceres. So that's a shocking event with how you raise children, okay? So, yeah, this has to do with, you know, parents looking after their children, and Uranus can be a shocking event. So with all these lines going out here with Al-Gol and all that, I mean, like, yes, they could have run into someone, but at the same time, she could have gotten into something. Candace was giving alcohol to Hunter. I mean, who's to say that, you know, when she dropped off Hunter, that Summer got something in her mouth. It only takes a little bit of drugs to overdose a child. You guys, I mean, a minuscule amount. And, I mean, Hunter I don't know if he was a drug dealer or not, but he went somewhere to a park afterwards. Not that I'm saying that Hunter's a drug dealer, but I'm just saying he is a kid. He did have alcohol. He might not have thought, right? I mean, he may not have kept his hands clean. He could have touched something that had drugs on it, touched her, or it could have been a complete accident, a shock. And I lean more towards that because if it is anything else, then it's absolutely devastating because of Al-Gol and Black Moon Lilith being on that DC. But it's very possible with her fate being at the swim hole and at this other Walgreens down here that this is the Walgreens that they said she went to. The one here by the swim hole. And the sun is there, which also rules, you know, the life force. The life force, Mercury, you know, I believe she went to the 3900 Fort Henry Drive Walgreens. At this one. So, I mean, we can look. I don't know where the Walgreens is at here. Let's see. I think I went on the wrong street. Sorry, this is like really slow, but you can see Hemlock Road. This is Hemlock Road where Warriors State Park was on in this area here. So there's Warrior State Park. Okay. I'm not sure where the horse stables were at, but the horse stables did burn down. I think they were back there. I'm not sure. Pluto and Saturn that went through Christian Ben. I think Ryan Finds Truth was going to search Christian's Ben, or did search Christian's Ben, but I'm not sure. Oh, did he really? Well, if he is going to search Christian's Ben for the, you know, the chart looks a little bit different for 230 and 4. But if he's going to go out to Christian's Bend, you know, we do have some pretty important planets out there. And I would say he should search this mile marker in this area here if he could, and everything in this pie section. You know, if there's any roads here. Let's see. It looks like a road, but I'm not sure, and it goes right near the water. Looks like a little side road. These are like not really even roads, but, and I'm not saying that that person in that house there did anything. Don't think that, but it is an area that the planets are mapping out in this area here. So if he could go on these little side roads on Miller's Bluff Road, and actually go towards the actual water. So, like in here. So, let's see if I can take it. I'm trying to see which direction the water would be in. There's a church here, which is interesting. Christian Ben. So if he can take any of these roads to get close to the water and look on the river's edge. I mean, I have had spirits come through and talk about plaster being thrown in the water. Now, I don't know if that's true or not. Remember, it's just a spirit box. Can't take a spirit box as fact. But this Christian Ben, yeah, because Pluto and her par of fortune is out here. Pluto ruling death and Capricorn ruling the skeleton. So, yeah. And this is Saturn. So Saturn takes us near this building here. I'm not really sure what this building is. Looks like a factory. So behind, or maybe it's a school. I'm not sure. That looks like a factory back there. I'm not sure. But, you know, behind buildings like that take us out to, you know, to the water. But I do have a line going through this factory. And I don't know if we ever did search Chad Arnold's backyard, but I would, you know, and, you know, it wouldn't hurt, you know, to search, you know, if you do live in on Ben Hill Road and you see a line going through your house, you know, it wouldn't hurt just to take a double peek. You never know. I mean, God forbid she could have wandered off and she fell and hurt herself, you know? I mean, not that anybody's guilty of anything. I mean, she could have actually had like a legit wander off, and it's not the best terrain for a child to go missing, right? I mean, it's just not. And, you know, anyone who lives in these areas, and if you see a line going through your property, I'm not saying that you're guilty. I'm saying it wouldn't hurt to look and just double check these areas. You know, and I have a mile marker right sectioning off a turn here on Ben Hill Road. So I am interested in this as well. It won't let me put my little guy down. Come on, little guy. Ugh, this thing drives me crazy. No street found, so it must just be... I wonder why it's not considered a street. Ben Hill. That's weird. Google Maps. It should show me. Oops, sorry. You guys there? It just died on me. I'll send this to him later. Okay. It'd be nice if you could check a shirt on Allie's backyard. It'd be nice if I could check a shirt on Allie's backyard. What do you mean? Karen? How you doing, Karen? It's good to see you. When I have a minute. I'm sorry. Junie, could you zoom in on that Chiron line where you said there was a bridge? It didn't map out. I have to add it up. Let's see, Chiron is... I have all of it written down here. In Kirsty's book, she gives you little pages that you can write stuff down. Where is Chiron at? I wanted to look over Sabian symbols, too. I can't pull up Chiron right now because I didn't write it down, damn it. Hold on. What was Chiron under? What time is this chart? This chart's at a different time. It's not at 6:32. It's like at 5:32. The Chiron doesn't move too much. It's at 12. 12 Aries. So Chiron would be 12 degrees for this chart. So I'll map out 12 degrees for you guys, and we'll see where Chiron takes us. The wound that never heals. Chiron is the wounded healer. He is a wound that never heals. In your natal chart, that's where you learn how to heal, is looking at where Chiron is and the planet, you know, and the house that it's in and the sign that's ruling it, can give you hints on how to heal yourself through healing others, right? But in crime, it pretty much is a wound that never heals for a victim. Okay, so I said 12, right? $11, $12, $14, $12 degrees. So it looks like Chiron takes me behind Grandis's trailer. I have the worst mouse to do this. I just have this tiny little laptop. But yeah, it works. I mean, I'm doing the best I can. All right. So Chiron, 12 degrees. Takes us down Morris Cemetery Road. Crosses over that, crosses over the 2.6 mile marker, or the AC line, the DC line. Eight miles out for Chiron. I hope you guys can see okay. Okay, this is taking me past the Saturn, which Saturn was, you know, at a 13th degree. So that's murder or accident to the head. Or car, something with a car, involving a car. Let's give it 1 second. So, $12 degrees. Take it all the way to the edge here. And it takes me out to the river. Let's see what's here on this river. So, takes me to Laurel Run, which I believe is near Cotton's house. This is the Cotton Simpson's house. The Simpson family. There's a couple of properties there. I'm not sure which one belongs to Cotton or Roy Cotton Simpson. It could just be his family. But here's Laurel Run, and Laurel Cliffs is all on the 27th degree, which is the moon. So this would be the wound that never heals on the moon line. This is Chiron, the wound that never heals on the moon, and AC/DC line, and the mile marker for the moon. So this is 26 degrees, that's 27 degrees. Oh yeah, I find it interesting. I also find it interesting that the map is mapping out where they went and got a slushie, where they went to the hospital, and where that hospital is, Al-Gol is nearby. And Grandis got medication that day. Could we have an accident with Grandis's medication? I don't know. It's possible. Happens all the time. That's the thing. It's so common. Children get into their parents' pain medication and they overdose. It can happen. It can easily happen. So this is the IC, the root of the matter. This is DNA here. And that goes near Christian Ben on the other side here. So Christian Ben's here, and the asteroid DNA is with Saturn, and then death with a skeleton is all out here. in this area here. So let me pull a tarot card and look at, let's look at, give me a tarot card reading. Well, I'll pull a crime chart card, just real fast. Give me a card that represents Summer Wells's case. Give me a card that represents Summer Wells's case, please. Give me a card that represents Summer Wells's case. Give me a card that represents Summer Wells's case, please. Give me a card that represents Summer Wells's case. I think my neighbors are out there fighting or partying. I don't know. They're being really loud out there. Trying to get it so you guys can at least see the chart. Give me a card that represents Summer Wells. Give me a card that represents Summer Wells. Give me a card that represents Summer Wells. Homicide. Desert. So this could be in sandy soil or something like a beach area where there's sand. A river bank. Give me a card that represents Summer Wells's case, please. Give me a card that represents Summer's case. Money. Bottom of the deck. Boat. It's the bottom of the deck. Okay, so let's go ahead and look up at some of the Sabian symbols. So Sabian symbols are were written by a psychic many, many years ago. But they are interesting because they're documented, and you can pull up a Sabian symbol when you look at the degree of the planet, and then you look at the house that it's in. So Summer Wells was at the Sabian symbol for 26 degrees of Scorpio, and it means Indian making a camp. Keynote being the ability to learn from nature and adapt to all situations, understanding and connection with natural forces and the ways of life. I also saw another Sabian symbol for Mars, and it said mumps, high fever, and the mumps. I think it was Mars. Mars was 2 degrees of Leo, I believe. I'm going to write down for Mars. Mars was 2 degrees of Leo. So if I look up the Sabian symbol for 2 degrees of Leo, shoot, my phone's going to die. Of course it is. Sabian symbol. Sorry, I get nervous typing with you guys. I get really nervous. I'm not interested. Okay, so it means the mumps. So the 2nd degree of Leo, which is ruling the planet. So Mars is at the 2nd degree of Leo. And it's like an epidemic of mumps. The symbol highlights the idea of crisis spreading rapidly through collective, similar to how mumps is spread among people. So it could be, does she get hot? Does she get a fever? Is she overheating? I have always felt that Summer did overheat, or that she was not feeling well that day, or something affected her health, or it affected the whole group, right? So it is interesting that Sabian symbol comes up. For Candace Wells, her Sabian symbol, I have 3 degrees of Scorpio for Candace. So I think 3 degrees of Scorpio, Sabian symbol. A house raising. So think of the Amish, how the Amish all come together and the neighborhood comes together and they raise a house together. Now think about that in crime. A communal effort where neighbors cooperate and contribute. Okay, so that is the Sabian symbol for Candace's, for Candace, who's in Scorpio, which rules being under a transition, an extreme transition, right? Highlighting things of community spirit and joint action. So there was a group effort with Candace, okay? And think about it, this is the 911 call. So the neighbors did come together, and they all came together and worked as the neighbors were trying to help at this time. You know, all the neighbors were coming around, and they were trying to help. So that Sabian symbol makes sense. Let's see, for Dawn, yeah, a house raising. That's 3 degrees of Scorpio, a house raising. So for Don, he was 21 degrees of Leo, and he's showing up as an intoxicated chicken. So he was under the influence that day, probably. I'm not sure if he was or not, but astrology kind of indicates that either he was walking around like a drunk chicken, or he was out of sorts. And there's, you know, the astrology is saying that, you know, I would say like a drunk chicken, or like a chicken with its head cut off kind of thing. Spiritual awareness. And if you think about it, he was saying, I'm going to see her in the rapture. I mean, he pretty much was saying, I'm going to see Summer in the rapture right away, which I have never felt comfortable with. I wonder if Don Wells believed that the rapture was coming, because a whole bunch of right-wing extremist Christians were saying that the rapture was coming. It didn't come, did it? There is no rapture. I'm sorry. At least that's what my spirits say. They said God is already here. He's in us. I have a couple of spirit box sessions where they said God has returned, and he lives within us. He's in us. He's already here. He's been here. He's with us. He's inside of us. He's always been here all along. So you know, and if you read some of the stuff that the Bible says, it says that nobody will even know that the rapture is coming. There will be no date. No one will know if it happens. But from what I understand, it already happened. When you talk to the spirit world, they already say Jesus has returned. So I don't know. That's just my opinion. See, do you want me to look up any other Sabian symbols, guys? Sorry, she's going over Sabian symbols for this chart. Yes, my Wi-Fi is out, so I'm going to go slow. Okay. AstroSeek has Sabian symbols built in, easier for you. Oh, okay. Yeah, I haven't really used AstroSeek. I'm like really comfortable with Astro.com, and I know I probably shouldn't. I know I'm supposed to be moving on. Like, a lot of people start off with Astro.com, but I'm really comfortable with that program. So is there any other questions, guys? Sorry. That was COVID season still. People were still wearing masks then. Oh, yeah, that's right, Misty. Thank you, Aggie. Hope you can map Boone Lake Beach. Where is Boone Lake Beach? Let's see. Yeah, there's a lot of sand here. Let's see if I have any lines show up near it. Boone Dam Road. If I push it out, Mercury goes right through there. Mercury goes right there. It's near Spurgeon, Missy. So yes, Mercury is a planet that's close by here. and the sun, which can shine light on a matter and is the vital life force of a victim. Rules the heart, the back, the vital life forces within a victim. So yeah, that's Boone Lake right there. So it does map out, Missy. Does that help? Is it this one here that I just showed on the map? It's in between the sun and Mercury. It's a big lake. It's huge. And Mercury can rule children. On 5, young children. Is it near Spurgeon Island? Near Boone Lake Dam. Where's the dam? Right here? So Mercury is near here. This looks like a dam. Right here. That looks like a dam to me. Is that the dam? Right here, hun? All right, so I hope this helps. If Ryan wants to send him that, can. If anyone's searching, is interested, anyone that sees these lines near their backyard or home, I really hope that they do go ahead and search, if these planets are mapping out something. I mean, we could have missed something, we could have easily missed something. Yeah, the sun is with Mercury there. They're conjunct. Well, not really conjunct, but they're in the same house, I can't remember what the chart says. The sun is in 25 degrees Gemini. Let's see, I wrote it down. The sun was 25 degrees Gemini, and Mercury was 27 degrees Gemini. So yes, they are conjunct. They're only 2 degrees apart, Missy. I hope that helps. DNA was at a 0 degrees. That's kind of, that's why just doesn't look good, her DNA being at a 0 degrees in Pisces. That just, ugh. And, with her DNA being in Pisces, it does go right out to the river. I mean, it does go right towards water. All over here is where the water is located, and her DNA is going right towards this water, and Christian's Bend, and was that Church Hill? So yeah, I mean, the root of the matter and DNA goes towards water, they were both in Pisces. So it's pretty crazy that the astrology map knows where the water is. Oh yeah, I forgot to enter his apartment. Do you have Sean Williams' address? I forgot it. I forgot to enter it. Sean Williams.